from First and Long College Football, our weekly best bets in college football betting. And now your hosts, Marcus and Mason. That's right, eye in the sky. It's time for Between the Lines. What's up, college football fans? I'm Marcus. That's Mason here on the First and Long College Football Show. We've got our best bets against the spread. We've got some money line picks for you. We do this every single week here on the Between the Lines segment. And we put all of our best bets out there and keep track of them throughout the college football season, our third season doing this here. And one of our favorite shows that we do every week. And it's literally for the love of the game. We get less views on this, but we have fun doing the locks portion of this show every single week, if you will. And so glad that you're here with us. Drop your best bets in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. What are you betting on this weekend? What are you going to go short on groceries next week whenever it doesn't hit? I'd love to hear. Last week I had a bad week. That was my worst week of the year. 3-6 against the spread. Didn't hit on our money lines. We have obligatory money line picks. We have to at least have one, plus money line pick every single week. I had a couple of them on the board last week. With the 3-6 against the spread, I'm at 18-21 overall. And then with my money line picks not hitting, losing a couple of units there, I'm up 0.45 units for the year on the money line. How about you, Mason? How'd you do last week? How you doing today? You ready to lock it up?
Yeah, ready to lock it up. Last week ended up same as you, 3-6 on the week. It was definitely my worst week. First time, actually second one that I was under 500 on so far this year. That puts me at 22-20 on the year. So I'm up 2 units, and then on the money line, didn't hit my 2 picks there on the money line, so that puts me at plus 3.05 total units there. In our locks, Mark, man, it's just been rough. Another 0-2 week for us. So we end up at 2-7 on the year for our locks. We got to turn that thing around here.
Yep, absolutely. We're taking the bait is what's going on. We're seeing a line. Vegas has a handful of lines every week, man, that are just they're baited. I mean, they're just baited bets. And I think we've been jumping on them and falling into the sinkhole. So let's see if we can avoid the booby traps of Las Vegas this week. Hey, they don't build them big old beautiful buildings by paying everybody out every week. That's for sure. So let's see if we can beat the books this week. Double O'Neill, Boise in the upset. Oh, we got Boise State and Notre Dame. Double O, what's up, my friend? It's good to see you here on the show. I appreciate you watching, man.
Since he mentioned that, I'm going to fade that pick. I'm taking Notre Dame at minus 20.5. I'm just going to go ahead and start off with that pick while we're on the topic. I think Notre Dame, they're going to do what they did last year, and they're looking for style points right now. After a couple of early season losses, no room for error at all. If they want any sort of chance, they got to run the table from here on out and do it in a stylistic fashion. And I think going up against Boise State, this is a chance to win by 3 or 4 touchdowns, and I think that they can do it. This offense is absolutely humming. Love CJ Carr, what he's doing with this offense. Give me Notre Dame stepping up with the defense this week and winning by at least three scores, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, Double O says, I believe Notre Dame will win. Not in a blowout, though. I think the points will hit the over, and I tend to agree with Double O.
I like the over, too, here.
Yeah, definitely. I tend to agree. The Notre Dame defense isn't what it once was, that's for sure. And I will say this, though. The Notre Dame offense, I think, is pretty good. CJ Carr is legit. I talked about him before the season that I really liked him, and man, he's been he hasn't disappointed, that's for sure. It's one of the better Notre Dame offenses we've seen over the last, I don't know, half decade. All right, let's go through some of these big games. We're going to lock it up quick, guys, so you guys can get in the betting window in the next 15 minutes. We're going to unload all of our best bets. Mason's already unloaded one on you. So let's get it going here. How about we go to Vanderbilt at Alabama? I think the general consensus with the betting public is that that Alabama is good and that Vanderbilt is Vanderbilt. And I just be honest with you, after what was a very emotional game last week, I think Vanderbilt can keep it within 11.5. That's the last number that I saw. I need to verify these numbers as we kind of go through here. But last I had seen it was 11.5 when I made this list last night. And I'm going to stick with Vanderbilt plus the points as long as it hasn't changed too much. Do you got to play on that game?
Yeah, 11.5 is actually you can get a plus 12.5 at ESPN
Oh,
bet, so I'm
oh,
sure you'll
see,
take
and
that.
I'm fading the public too right there, obviously.
Yep. I'm taking the over in this game, 56.5. Yesterday, when I had circled this it was at 55, which I would have liked it more so at, but not a huge difference between 55 and 56.5. As long as we're under that 57 mark, I think that's more of a key number. So give me the over 56.5. I think Bama scores. This Vanderbilt offense is obviously improved from where it was last season. And I think that this is going to be in the 60s. Both teams get to 30 at least.
Yep. Yep. All right, Texas at Florida. So I had Florida plus 5.5. It's moved down to 4.5. So I'm gonna have to take that pick off, but I still wanted to at least mention the game. I'm not gonna go all the way down to 4.5. I liked it at 5.5.
You actually they're still a 5.5 at a couple of these MGM and ESPN bet if you want to still take that.
Okay. All right. I'll bet the 5.5. I'm taking Florida plus 5.5. I honestly thought that the betting public would be on Texas on this one. I honestly did. Maybe there was some big money that came in on Florida at the very end here was a big better letting that number get up and then betted it down. But look, I think this is one of those traps for the week. I think a lot of people look at this game and think about how bad Florida is, and a lot of casual college football bettors still think that Texas is one of the best teams in the country. This is one of the best two defenses in the country squaring off. That's why the over-under is at 42.5. I just feel like this is a moment that Florida is going to I think they're going to actually come out and place a little bit of offense in this one and figure out a way to get into the end zone. And I also don't believe in Texas's offense, just like I don't really at Florida's in the grand scheme of things. But I think Florida is able to do enough to keep this thing close at home here. Give me the Gators plus 5.5.
I like it. This thing's been bet down on the total on the game from 53.5 all the way down to a 42. I think that's just a little bit too much of a swing. So I'm going to take the over 42, just a
Good
little bit
job.
too low. I think a defensive score or two it goes a long way here, and maybe a backdoor cover with a scoop and score, pick six, something like that. I do think it's going to be low scoring, but 42 is just too dang low, man. It's more of a principal
Now
play
you're
here for me.
gambling. That's how you
Yeah.
gamble right there. The day trader Mason here. You gotta get these stocks when they're low. I agree 100%. You wait on that line movement and then bet against it, my friend. That is the one benefit of doing this show later in the week for sure. So you got to take advantage.
Absolutely.
All right, good stuff. I like that. Um, again, another kind of fade the public knowledge portion of this show. Um, I'm trying not to fall in these Vegas traps this week, and I think this Iowa State at Cincinnati game, I think it's a Vegas trap. I think Vegas is just rage baiting you into picking Iowa State here. Everything I've seen on the internet all week is Iowa State going to beat up on Cincinnati. Why is Cincinnati favored? Why is Cincinnati favored? Let me tell y'all something. Vegas knows something that we don't on this. Cincinnati was a 1.5 point favorite when I saw this yesterday. Now, maybe it's moved again because I made this list yesterday and then we weren't able to do the show right away. So I'll kind of verify this number. Did you
Yeah.
have a play on
One,
this game?
1.5. There's actually a two out there.
There's
If
a
you're
minus
minus
2 is what
two,
you're
it
saying?
depends on which side you're on here. It sounds like you're on
I'm on the
Cincinnati, so
Cincinnati side of this.
yeah, -1, basically a pick 'em.
-1 even.
Hmm. Yep.
Okay, great. Well, I had it at 1.5 last night, so I feel even better. Vegas knows something that we don't, man. I mean, Cincinnati, nobody's really watched any Cincinnati games since the opening weekend against Nebraska. And I feel like everybody is on the Iowa State Matt Campbell train, rightfully so. They've played they've won a bunch of games over the last, couple of seasons. But I just feel like I feel like the Vegas knows something that we don't hear. And that's what they're signifying. I'm going to jump on with Vegas and ride that train. Cincinnati -1. What
I
you got?
like it. I like it. I'm going to stay away from that game. I need to see more out of Cincinnati. Like you said, haven't seen them since week 1. It looks like they've been kind of flying under the radar, and all of a sudden they're on everybody's radar this week. Iowa State's still a really good team, maybe the best team in the Big 12, maybe the best coach team with Matt Campbell in the Big 12. So anxious to see how that one turns out. I'm going to go with Mississippi State plus 16.5 versus Texas A&M. I'm buying the hype here. I think that Jeff Levy's done an excellent job turning this program around in 2 years. The offense can score going up against the Texas A&M defense that was really good last week, but in previous weeks, lackluster. And maybe that says more about Auburn's offense than it does Texas A&M's defense. I think Mississippi State's going to be able to score. I think they pound the rock here, and they keep it within 2 touchdowns. So 16.5 feels pretty solid for me.
I'm riding that train with you, brother. So that means the Texas A&M is going to cover.
Yeah, right.
We're locking it up together. I'm with you. I think the whole betting public and just in general, whenever there's a Texas team involved in one of these things, it seems like the Texas side of things usually gets bet real hard just because I think it's just because all the money out there, I guess. I think there's a big betting scene out there too, but I'm fading the public on this one, man. I want to get on that Mississippi State side. Mississippi State is definitely a surprising team. I like everything you just said. Levy's doing a good job offensively. Could have easily come out with a win against Tennessee last week. I'm hoping that they don't have some kind of emotional letdown after what was an emotionally taxing game for sure. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Miami at Florida State. Let me check and see if there's any line movement on this sucker. But last I'd seen it was 4.5, and it's still there. I'm still seeing a 4.5. I'm jumping on Florida State plus 4.5 here. Okay. I think this is a buy low moment for Florida State after honestly a predictable loss against Virginia last week. Last week I was on Virginia all week, and then at the last second I chickened out, and that's been like kind of the thing with all of my picks here. The last couple of weeks, I'm on one thing all week, and then I get to the betting window, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna change my mind at the last minute, and I'm not trusting my gut. I'm gonna stick with my gut on this one. Florida State plus 4.5. I think this is a field goal game. I think Florida State shows up focused for this one. It's a rivalry game, obviously. Game day gonna be there, and everybody's gonna be there. I think you're going to get the best of Florida State in this one, and I think it's going to be a really, really good game. Over under set at 54.5, 4.5 point spread should be a really good one. But give me Florida State plus 4.5.
Well, I guess everybody should go ahead and bet Miami right now because I'm on it with you, Mark. I've got Florida State plus 4.5. I think it's a field goal game for sure, rivalry game. This game's going to be played in Tallahassee. I think all of that matters. Plus, Carson Beck here recently looks a lot more like the Carson Beck circa 2024 version that we saw. Earlier in the season, he was playing lights out. I mean, looked like the best quarterback in the country. And then here the past couple of weeks, he's really cooled off, playing a little bit with a little bit more anxiousness, maybe. It seems like he's forcing the ball through, trying to just push the ball through a lot of tight windows and not really layering the football and having a lot of touch, making the ball a little bit more catchable. I think that trend continues, and Florida State could very well pull the upset here, and I'd be here to see it, to be honest with you.
Yep. I'm with you, man. We're on the right side of it this week. We got to be positive. We're on the right side of it this week. All right, and I'm going to rattle off some of these last ones because some of these are just downright icky, these last few.
Yeah.
So I've bet on Michigan State a couple of times this year, and I've won, and I'm going to go to that well again. Michigan State at Nebraska. Michigan State is getting 12.5 there. I like Michigan State to hang in there like a hair in a freaking biscuit. That's what this team is. They're like a hair in a biscuit that got baked in at Hardee's at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and you can't even hardly pull it out without breaking the biscuit in half. They just hang in there, dude. They're tough. They're gritty. I like the coach there. I think the trajectory of the team is headed in the right direction. Are they elite? No, but they've only got one loss so far this year. And so I think they're going to give Nebraska a run for their money. I don't think Nebraska deserves to ever be anywhere around a 2-touchdown favorite against any Big Ten team right this second. So at plus 12.5, I feel good about Michigan State.
I like it. I'm just looking up another pick here. I'm going to take Kentucky at plus 20.5 against Georgia. Look, Georgia all season and throughout Kirby Smart's tenure have not really cared to run the score up on any team. And going up against Kentucky, it seems like these games are closer than they ever should be. The under is actually a pretty solid play here. I think the under is hit in like all but one of the games that Kirby's coached against Kentucky. That number is sitting at 48.5 if you like the under. I'm not going to take that because I think this could end up right at 49 or something like that. But give me Kentucky at plus 20.5 here.
Yeah, I was going to be on the other side of that, but if it's went to 20.5, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I had it at 19.5. I don't know if there's still any of those out there.
Yeah, you can get a 18.5 actually.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take that.
But...
I'll take the 18.5, and I'll take UGA to cover. I know exactly what you're saying with the Kentucky thing. A lot of the real gritty, tough games for whatever reason have been Georgia going on the road to Lexington, and this one being at home. I think this is a get right moment for the Dogs. I think the Dogs figured out some stuff on defense last week, to be honest with you, because by the end of that game, they were playing a lot different than what they were at the beginning of that game. I think we could all see that. And I think it takes moments like that to be able to learn who you are. And I think Georgia learned more about who they were last week than about who they weren't. It was coaching blunders, honestly, that lost Georgia that game last week. I'm fully confident in that. Got out coached. Georgia gets right this week, minus 18.5 at home against them Wildcats. I think Kentucky. I think Kentucky. I should have played them in the first half. Is what I should have done, because they're getting like 10 or something in the first half. And I think Kentucky,
11.5.
Yeah, that's a Kentucky first half is a great play. I think this week.
Yeah.
And I think Georgia comes back and hits a backdoor cover late in this one. Is kind of how I feel like this one goes. A little bit of a crock potting, if you will. Put them on low. Come back 4 hours later, and you've got yourself a cover. All right. You want me to throw another pick out there? Or you got one?
Yeah, I know you got a hard out here in just a couple seconds. So if you want, you can just list yours off. I'll list mine off, and we'll close it out.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so I've got 2 more picks against the spread, and I got my money line pick. And there ain't much to these. Look, this next one is a fade. This is a Vegas trap too, guys. Texas Tech at Houston. Houston is undefeated. Nobody has watched Houston. They're a decent little team. Okay, they're getting 11.5 at home against Texas Tech. I'm taking Houston plus 11.5.
I got a 13.5.
There you go. And we're fading the public. We're continuing to fade the public here, as the money is obviously coming in on Texas Tech. And why wouldn't it? I mean, this is an absolute trap game for all bettors. They're just collecting money because everybody's seen Texas Tech and knows, the Texas Tech has got like an unlimited billfold for buying players, and that's what they did this offseason. So give me Houston to keep it within 13.5. I think if you tell me you start the game basically with 2 touchdowns to spare, I like Houston to be able to keep it reasonable. And then just a basic principle play, y'all. Air Force at Navy under 51.5. I don't see this one being super explosive. I don't see a ton of points being scored in this one. The unders just hit over and over and over and over again over the last 25 seasons or what have you, really, whatever sample size you want to look at for betting. The armed forces games just come in under, I mean, just at a very high rate. I'm going under 51.5. Air Force has no secondary, but it doesn't matter because Navy's not going to throw the ball. And then money line pick, I'm taking Maryland plus 180 hosting Washington this week. Maryland is a team that a lot of people have been talking about. Nobody's watched Maryland, okay, and I'm included in that because Maryland has played absolutely nobody. But I think this is a spot where I think Maryland could probably flex their muscle just a bit. Now Washington's been an exciting offense until they ran into a absolute just lawnmower blade last week of Ohio State, and it really just shut everything down. I'm wondering if that loss to Ohio State, a team that's that physical, a defense that's that good, those are one of those teams that can sometimes beat you twice, 2 weeks in a row. And I'm kind of counting on that this week. So give me Maryland plus 180 on the money line to take out Washington at Maryland.
All right. Last couple of picks in my money line pick. Kent State plus 46.5 versus OU. This is just a principal play here. 46.5 is a ton of points. OU, they've got a backup quarterback in there in Hawkins. I think that Kent State's going to be able to keep it within 46.5 there. TCU minus 14.5 versus Colorado. Colorado cannot seem to find an identity. I think that continues. The Horned Frogs are looking really good. They're rolling. So give me them at 14.5. And then I'm also on the same pick with Maryland. I've got them at plus 190. So we'll get Mark an extra 1/10 of a unit there for that one. All right, y'all, we got a hard out here. We are over on our time. So we're going to take off here. Excited to break this down with y'all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, help us out. Let's good college football watching this week, right? We got college football on today. Excited to do that, and we'll be on a little bit later tonight doing our reaction show. So come catch us around 11:30, sometime around 11:30 or midnight. We'll get on, finish out the evening games, and react to the week that was. Y'all take care.